is frozen, when the moors they hide away under the snow. Fingers of doom will clutch the chosen. All beasts will shiver from the lion to the crow. When winter comes, when times are starkest, when the wailing of the wolves fades with the sun, the wilds are numb, the days are darkest, the fates of many cease to rest on only one. Walls will not hold the winter, over and underground. Walls will not hold the winter. When thrones are idle, when the brave they cower under eyes of blue, the rising roar, the endless cycle, turns the darkest myths of yesterday to truth. Walls will not hold the over and underground. Walls will not hold the winter, all in the way we'll fall. So such a pleasure when deep in the days I can hold you to myself again. Relive the memory map, I couldn't want more. I give you everything that you ever want for. Don't worry honey, I've nothing to say. Tonight we wash all your worries away. So lay your body down babe. Forget about your troubles, hit the lights. Lay your body down, babe. I'm gonna give the world to you tonight. Breathe. Breathe. I can feel your heartbeat. I can feel you breathe. I can feel your heartbeat. I can feel you breathe. So lay your body down, babe. Forget about your troubles, hit the lights. Lay your body down, babe. I'm gonna give the world to you tonight. So lay your body down, babe. Forget about your troubles, hit the lights. Lay your body down, babe. I'm gonna give the world to you tonight. Honey, I can feel your heartbeat. Baby, I can feel you breathe. Amnesia, you've got the world on your shoulders. Innocence left you too soon. So young at heart, yet you feel so much older. Under your favorite full moon. So trust a little time, so you be afraid. Just a little time, gonna make it fade. Your heart is gonna shine and you're gonna make us proud. Send a little light, gonna shine for you. Things will be alright, gonna get you through. Searching for a silver lining on this cloud. Amnesia, you forgot your name. Don't let your spirit fade away. Amnesia, you've been through such pain, but your little heart is growing stronger every day. Hey, don't fade away. Don't fade away. Amnesia, you've got this burden to bear now, hiding away from the world. But deep down behind that disguise that you wear now, I see a lost little girl. So trust a little signs that you be afraid. Just a little time, gonna make it fade. Your heart is gonna shine and you're gonna make us proud. Send a little light, gonna shine for you. Things will be alright, gonna get you through. Searching for a silver lining on this cloud. Amnesia, you forgot your name. Don't let your spirit fade away. Amnesia, you've been through such pain, but your little heart is growing stronger every day. Hey, don't fade away. Don't fade forgot your name. Don't let your spirit fade away. Amnesia, you've been through such pain, but you're growing stronger every day. Amnesia, you forgot your name. Don't let your spirit fade away. Amnesia, you've been through such pain, but your little heart is growing stronger every day. Hey, don't fade away. Don't fade away. Don't fade away. Come on. Don't fade away. When the world is on your shoulders, stay. Don't fade away.
Cast out of inclusion's warm embrace, peering from a solitary space. The sting of rejection leaves its scars upon my face. I will run, I will fall, I will climb through it all, ever keeping the pace. 'Cause I can see the world unseen. I can hear them call to me, harnessing the energy from every fall and failure. I'll be a force of nature upon a wall of rust. I'll be a force of nature. The only truth I trust is what I see. So eager to see.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Final Show. I'm John, the executive producer here, and I've just got a few pre-show notes for you. First of all, I want to let everybody know that our addresses have changed. Our Twitch channel has changed from Senstaku to twitch.tv/FinalShowFilms, and our YouTube channel has also changed to youtube.com/FinalShowFilms. Next, we want to thank our $20 tier supporters on Patreon, which is patreon.com/FFilms, by the way, if you want to go throw a couple bucks our way. That's going to be Cat Waterflame, Antitonic, Samantha Bates, and Maureen Monty. Thank you guys for that. Also, our website is in the process of getting updated, so go take a look at finalshowfilms.com. We've got Mara and Jeremy are working on updating all of our stuff there, making it look nice and like a modern website, and frankly, they know what they're doing far better than I or Austin ever did. So if you want to check out the things that are changing over there, you go do that. Follow us on Twitter at Final Show Films for updates for all future things, including things that are going on with our website and things that are going on with the Patreon page, and things that are going on live as we stream them, as well as our podcasts and everything else. So thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a good day. live.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to Everyone is Warlocks, Conflux. I am Jack, your storyteller for the evening, and joining me tonight, we have a full house, starting with Nikki.
Hi, everybody. I'll be playing Diamond Qatar, the Earth Genasi folk hero.
And Mara.
Hi, I'm Mara, and I'm playing Aurelia, the human archaeologist.
And Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy. I'm Korshana, Kalishtar, Kalishtar.
And Cody.
Hi, I'm Cody. I'm playing Cole, the shifter urchin.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Erin, and I am playing Mesha, the Loxodon healer.
William.
Hi, I'm William, and I'm playing Wotan Saltspray, the dwarven pirate.
And John.
I'm John, and I'm playing Hedon, the tiefling noble.
Now, our last moments in Conflux were set in the main room of Hawkshead House, where our Warlock Compact discussed their next steps in trying to determine the overall objective of the Great Game. Having established themselves already as the legal tenants of the premises under the ownership of Hiram Lucius Mencken, a were-rat gang boss, the next few days passed in a flurry of activity and preparation, as all clues indicated that more clues might be found at an upcoming public lecture of sorts. Some people spend time with family or at employment or exploring their surroundings, but the evening of the 18th approaches as you all assemble for a social gathering of somewhat unknown character. And now our eyes are first drawn to the interior of a coach passing through Underbough, where Diamond and Korshana are sequestered for a private conversation.
Okay, so Korshana,
Yes.
and Diamond pulls out a notebook that she's only carrying like a tiny, what would be considered like a purse, I guess. Like she's only got her notebook, some coins. That's it. That's all she's got
Okay.
on her. She pulls it out and she's like, okay, so be keeping track of this. I wrote down the dream with you first, and then I I kept track of the dreams that I had the past 2 nights, which weren't really that exciting. Like, in comparison to your dream, which seemed like, or my dream about you,
Right.
that was more like weird visiony thing. The other 2 ones seemed to actually like have me in them, which is kind of usually what dreams do. Like, the dream I had about you, I wasn't like, I was there, but it wasn't Diamond, if that makes sense. The other 2 dreams that I wrote down, I'm always Diamond.
It was, you were there witness. It was, shall we say, first person, but it wasn't you.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
strange.
That is my understanding that is not normal.
No, it's not. And like, also the way the dream with you there was very specific and kind of coherent. The other 2 dreams I have, like the other one, I started in a field of flowers, but then I'm in a lecture hall and I'm taking notes. Like I'm back in school or something. And then this guy comes over and just punches me in the face. And tries to steal my notes, which is fine because I couldn't even read them anyway. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. It's definitely working through something, but it's not coherent.
Fair enough. So, remind me of the particulars of the one that I was in.
So when I went back through it again, and that's the other thing, like the dream I had about you, I could remember specific things, like even things people said. Normally when you wake up from a dream, like maybe you remember some things or some feelings. Most of the time though, you wake up and you don't remember anything from it again.
Mm-hmm.
But so there was a room with charts and scrolls, maps, and people writing
Could you
all
read
around the
those?
room.
Sorry, could you read those?
The maps and the scrolls,
Yes.
I could. There, like, I feel like I could. I wasn't focused on it, I
Right.
guess.
Okay.
like I had knowledge about what was there. It just wasn't the focus of the dream. Um, and when you walked in, it was also raining because you were shaking water off of your coat or whatever you had, and then so were the uh, saber shadows that came in with you. They were all shaking off water. So either it was raining outside. And what I got wrong from telling you before that after I wrote it all down was that you were actually meeting with this group to let them know that you were going with the saber shadows during this cycle, and then capital punishment for theft, larceny, and extortion were going to be put into place. There's also something about last month's articles of community were reviewed and sent for publication. So I guess there was a newsletter that was sent out, and things were being set in motion. Like, and like that's the thing is like the person that I was knew that this had been planned for months. Like whatever was happening at that moment, like we just started the game too, so I don't know if this has anything actually to do with the game or if this is something completely outside of it that we just happen to fall into. Like the timing on that is a little strange for me, which is why it's another reason why it's a weird dream, because time also seems really weird in dreams.
Yeah. So I've studied dreams a little bit because I'm fascinated. I don't understand them.
Everybody's fascinated by dreams, and
that's fair. But a lot of what you're saying sounds like things that aren't part of regular dreams. Potentially being able to read things, you're not being involved, etc. That would lead me to believe, especially considering that we all now have external sources of power. This may not be a dream and perhaps more of a, like you said, vision kind of thing.
which is weird because this definitely doesn't seem like my guy's mode of operation. I mean, dreams, yes, but sending me a dream about you with this, I don't know.
That's the other aspect of it is we now have external sources of power. We now have very, very powerful people, in most cases, backing us in the fight against us. But having an ally, having a being the agent of who we are agents of, you are agents of, would also potentially be cause for others who could. I'm theorizing here. I'm hypothesizing.
Oh yeah.
Who could have the ability to send these sort of things. So I'm not saying that it necessarily comes from your patron, but from somebody else. Did the me seem like me or just look like me?
I mean, they looked like you. They talked like you. They sounded exactly like you.
Same mannerisms, same.
And
as much as you could tell.
Yeah, sorry. Like, I do want to get to know you better. Like, we're becoming fast friends. This is really great.
Right.
But
but because, like I said, there are. I believe this. I do not have firm information on this, but I believe that there are other Shaunas out there. Other Kalashtar who are connected to the same quarry as I am. So trying to be interpretive here, it is conceivable that it could have been one of these other people. And because you saw the spiritual connection, your mind put me in because I am the most. There's a lot of potential like uncertainties here.
Oh no,
The other
absolutely.
possibility is it could be prophetic. It could be some because I certainly never done that before. I've never been in a position to do these kinds of things before because that would require I have power I currently have of a political nature, and I currently have none. I'm not entirely sure what to make of it.
It's definitely something to keep an eye out on, which is why I told you, because I couldn't make heads or tails of it, which is another thing. Like, kind of the thing about dreams is sometimes you can kind of like, okay, this is about uh breakfast this morning, or this is about the dude customer that I had that was really shitty to me earlier. Like,
Or about, deep, dark fears and secrets and that
yeah,
sort of thing.
it's your the idea of dreams is usually to like kind of work everything out. That wasn't happening here, or at least for me it wasn't, which is why I brought it to you, just so if that comes up where the name, the New Citizens Anarchy of Conflux, or the Saber Shadow,
Yes.
or unfortunately I think the biggest thing for me is I wish I knew the face of the person that I was,
Right.
because that
Were there any things that you saw that were indications? Skin pigmentation.
no, I never looked down at myself.
The voice sounded like your voice.
No, not at all. Sounded like a male's voice.
Okay.
You actually never spoke in the dream, Diamond.
I thought everybody said
Everybody
people
but you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yep. Never mind. Nope, I didn't speak. Never mind.
Fair enough. A sense of, did you get a sense of your clothing, anything like that might be?
Not really. No.
Well, I mean, I'm not taking it as necessarily coincidence, because I don't think we should take anything that is a potential vision as coincidence.
Yeah.
That you had something like this involving something that was clearly political oriented just before, a few days before, but just before a meeting such as this.
Yep.
So I think we should definitely keep an eye out while we are there.
I would probably keep an eye and an ear out for anything
Those
that sounds
keywords.
like the Citizens Anarchy of Conflux. That those people might be interesting. Either they'll help us on what I'm supposed to do and what you want to help us with,
Right.
Or not. We'll see. We'll see.
Yes, absolutely. Jack, remind me. I know
Yeah.
we had information. We had some information passed around because a few people got good enough rolls of exactly who the Saber Shadows.
Yes.
Yes.
I
got that word right. Yes.
I want to say Shadow Sabers, which is wrong.
Yeah.
No, that's a tiger from World of Warcraft.
Exactly.
The Saber Shadows are a mercenary company, fairly prolific, generally always available for hire to the right consumer. They tend to operate more in the 13 Clouds, Dancers Courts, Fell Heights area, slightly higher levels in the city for the most part. You guys are on first tier districts.
I have to check something.
Okay.
Could you list those districts again?
Yeah, 13 Clouds.
Okay.
Dancers Court.
Yep.
And Fell Heights.
Okay.
That's their normal area, but they'll take contracts anywhere if the pay's right.
Okay. Good to know.
Mhm.
Yes, we'll definitely keep an eye out, and it's good information to know because one way or another, I feel they're going to be very important for us.
Also, do you know what kind of lecture this is supposed to be? Everyone keeps saying party, and I got a dress, but
I feel like it's going to be one of those parties that is more proselytizing. I don't know. We will sort of have to as it comes.
we will see what happens.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is right about the time that your coach pulls up in front of the Montano Jeanette estate. Everybody seems to be arriving at more or less the same time. There's a myriad of coaches and carriages that file down this narrow drive, pause for a moment, their passengers bursting out onto the lawn and swarming up the front path, almost like schools of glittering fish. Thematic attire for the evening apparently runs the gamut from fashionably flamboyant to garish bedazzlement. Even those from obviously poorer means tend to wear at least a bright scarf or a loud sash of some sort. It's the first situation that any of you have seen wherein Hedon actually looks more status quo than the rest of you. But there's a large crowd that's coming in. Footmen hold the doors open to allow everybody entrance, and the company bottlenecks into an entry area. People are being lined up and allowed in an orderly fashion. A trio of under-butlers accosts each attendee, regardless of apparent social standing. You guys begin to find yourselves sort of funneled together. At this point, everybody but Wotan is there. And a sturdy-looking dwarf with a short beard that is entirely eclipsed by his ridiculously waxed mustache confronts you holding a small book. Yes, good evening, gentles all. You seem to be of a single company. How would you request yourselves to be announced?
Question.
Yep.
Am I with them? Because I would have stuck with my date.
You would have stuck with your date. Your date is part of this group now.
Okay. I will be announced as my date's +1. I'm not putting my actual name down. So whatever my date does.
Yeah, I feel like we're all waiting on the date.
Real awkward.
The date and their +7.
Right. Your whole just says...
No, it's just respectful to let the person of higher social standing...
Master Gerald Cunningham and guests. Did you wait to... I mean, these tend to be fairly ecumenical, I suppose. Everybody gets announced. What do you want them to call you?
I'm happy just being your +1.
All right. The dwarf makes a note in a book and then turns to whoever's next in line. Group or single? What are we doing?
We go as a group? Is that normal?
Well, it's whatever you're most comfortable with.
I'll step forward. Aurelia Clementine Everance. Yes. I don't want to do it to people because I don't know what you're going to do that's stupid, but I'm sure it's going to be stupid.
Next then.
Go ahead.
Major will step forward and using the full Loxodon inflection that implies the status behind the name, Major.
Very well. Lovely to see a guild representative here. If you step this way, puts you next in line. Right, there's a few more, yes?
I like the implication that this guy knows Loxodon well enough to have understood the implication exactly of your status as a guild member.
Guild.
Diamond will step forward.
Okay.
Diamond Qatar of Qatar Arms.
Very good. Excellent. Last
Cora.
one?
Cora from 13 Clouds.
Court of 13 Clouds. Wonderful.
Coal of Song Sorrows.
Coal of Song Sorrows. Fantastic. Right, well, everybody simply line up here, and as the over-butler announces, yes, you just walk right in. The professor will be sitting, holding forth in the main sitting room, if you care to do that. But you'll be entering the ballroom first, so avail yourselves of refreshments, and thank you so much for attending our soiree this evening.
What's your name?
You can call me Butler Carag.
You're doing a lovely job. I just want you to know.
This is very kind of you to say, miss.
I'm glad.
I will gently
I heard
guide.
refreshments, so I'm kind of just like smoothly beelining that way.
All right.
So straight for the punch bowl.
The line of you
Yeah,
are
I'm going to
directed
the line.
Right. The line of you are directed to stand behind a pair of elves whose conversation quickly betrays them as a pair of greengrocers from Dawnbreeze.
Mm-hmm.
You're waiting in line, as people are announced and everybody sort of quasi-ceremoniously goes in. Behind you is a trio of much more lavishly dressed humans.
I am playing to the hilt the dumb date.
Okay.
And will be asking as many questions of my date as I can, because he is the expert in this particular situation, and just letting him be the most knowledgeable person in the room about everything.
All right. So he's kind of, commenting on the rest of the people that he sees here, and the fact that, well, those are obviously some, merchants from What's It Split, and these three behind us are minor nobles from 13 Clouds, and oh yeah, no, they were at a horse race that I was at the earlier in this week, and sounds like they lost a lot of money. Well, that sort of thing can happen.
Yeah. And every reaction in tune with the idea that his social standing is very clearly higher than everyone else's at the moment.
Okay. Give me a performance check then.
Oddly, one of the few charisma skills that I don't have proficiency in.
What?
Do I have any sort of advantage?
Not currently.
All right.
The DC's not super high.
21.
Yep, you're carrying it off, no problem. But you guys are eventually announced with your respective titles and or accompaniments. Directly beyond the entryway, as you were told, is the ballroom. A number of attendees are dancing to the music that's put forth by a small chamber orchestra. The staff is gliding through with trays of stemware and party food. Plenty of partygoers seem content to chat and mingle, despite the obviously very wide, almost surprisingly wide divergence in social strata for the entire company. But you guys have a large estate to explore. What's everybody doing? As Wotan finally shows up.
Yep.
Doors bust open.
No, the doors are already just being held open. There's unfortunately no opportunity to slam any doors.
There's just a slightly salty dwarf that stomps through.
He didn't even take a carriage that he could slam the door of as he got out of.
Oh, yeah.
So, happens sometimes.
Yeah.
What prestidigitation is for the record.
Thaumaturgy, but yes.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't mean physically salty.
Both actually, but kind of both.
Yes, that's what I want.
So where's everybody headed?
I am letting my date drag me around.
All right, you're dancing.
Yep.
I'm looking for the other old people. I'm looking for the grandpa corner.
Give me a perception check.
I have been
Wait,
listening
that's persuasion.
in.
Sorry, give me a second. Which one's perception? There it
And
is.
I'm trying to find
13.
people who might be useful.
So Major, you look around and you can see the gray-haired monocle and walking cane crowd sort of hanging out in one corner off to the side. There's a number of comfortable chairs and benches, and they occasionally get up, and walk into a west-facing a room. But for the most part, they're coming in, they're having a break, they're being given some refreshments, they're sending away for more alcohol, and just kind of taking a breather before they get up and eventually putter on out with the rest of the crowd. But most of them seem to be headed towards what was kind of indicated as the main sitting room, apparently where the professor is.
Okay. In that case, I'll just stick with my group for now.
Okay. Aurelia, you're looking for what?
I am looking. So I've been listening into Heathen's Date this entire time to see if there was anything that was pinging my interest as a potential non-magical patron. And then kind of take a moment to sort of look around the room, see if there's anything that looks potentially interesting, and if not, then I'll probably head in to see what the lecture is.
Okay.
I imagine people who would be useful for me would be in there.
Give me a perception check then.
All right. 20.
Yeah, so you're looking around, you see a few familiar faces. There's some faculty here. A couple people that you recognize as students as well. The Vascone contingent apparently sent a number of representatives, which makes sense for a social situation of this caliber. But most of them are almost immediately directly going in. The students with varying levels of interest on their expressions. Several of the faculty with all right, let's see what he's up to. kind of deportment as they head into this very large sitting room that sits just off the ballroom as well.
All right, I'll head that direction then. It seems
Okay.
that seems...
All right. Anybody else going anywhere else in particular, or the rest of you following Aurelia?
I was going to go to the nearest person that was handing out drinks and or hors d'oeuvres or whatever they're handing out food wise. I'll take a handful of that.
Okay.
Diamond's following Cole.
Drink or whatever, and then I just want to do a pass around the room to see if there's anybody else that I might recognize here, either business wise or.
As you go around, there is nobody you recognize.
Okay, I am shoveling the food in my face though.
Okay, right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you've got a handful of
Wash
pastry
it down.
and a champagne flute in the other hand, and they're both gone in about 35 seconds.
Yep.
And almost as soon as you drain the last of your glass, you hear a at your elbow, and there's a blank tray.
Set
Thank
it
you,
down.
sir. And that the glass is gone.
That's when Cole has to think, is it tip or glass? Tip or glass? Glass? Fuck.
Glass.
Glass.
Yep.
They were watching me.
It was
They're
glass.
ready for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, then I'll head into the
Okay. Yeah,
lecture.
Diamond, you're able to score some refreshments as well.
Diamond just kind of like takes a brief glance around the room, but tries to stick within eye distance of her party.
Okay. Yep. You're looking around. It's definitely like most of the people that are here are definitely comfortable, apparently, in the marginally upscale Conflux party scene. The dances don't seem super complicated, although there is definite variance in skill level with, the more advanced dancers towards the exterior where they can move faster, and the more novice individuals congregating more towards the center of the dance floor. But everybody seems to be having a pretty good time. And Wotan, right about now, is when you get announced.
Yeah.
And
And
sort
he-
of
Yeah.
shoved in, as there's still quite a line behind you. of
He
people who are
he doesn't wait. He's not going to wait for anyone to push. He's going to step through because his immediate goal is to try and read the room, because there's a lot of information that you can glean based on who recognizes the name, especially a name that has very specific connotations.
Yeah. Give me an insight check.
Damn it.
It's announced, but it doesn't seem to have garnered any special attention. Like every time a name is called, there's a number of heads that turn to see who's that. But aside from the general idle curiosity, doesn't seem to be anything explicit, which either means nobody here knows who you are, or the people here who know who you are aren't stupid.
So in that particular case, he will sort of gravitate towards refreshments because everyone will eventually go there, which makes it the single best place in the building to garner gossip.
So refreshments aren't really particularly in a specific place. There's a small area off to one side that has a little bit of a table, and there seems to be some sort of small punch bowl there with a few kind of very benign desserts laid out. Everything else seems to be being hand served by these staffers that are just making motions through the room to cover as much territory as possible. You sort of eyeball that punch bowl, and then you see like a 9-year-old kid go over, get a cup for himself, grab some cookies.
It's a punch bowl. Yeah.
The kids' table. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Right. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I definitely snagged a flute of champagne with my tail while I was dancing, and that is now sort of just hovering over my shoulder while dancing.
Okay, sounds good.
In that particular case, then Wotan's going to he will probably sort of skirt the boundary between the main room and the lecture hall.
Okay.
Because the traffic through there will probably be the most heavily concentrated location, which means it'll be the best place to pick up information.
It definitely is.
So,
and yeah, Korishan.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say two things. One, Cora is just sort of walking around the edges, keeping an eye out, mostly for. He hasn't been at a place like this, so they want to see or in a position like this. They're on the hunt for more of them.
Okay.
Also, I want to know the physics of how a tail that doesn't have digits or anywhere that you can platform or anything like that holds something like a champagne flute, because that shit don't track.
I have a little ring mounted. I have a little tail mounted like accessory basically that provides that has like a little hook on the end, so the tail wraps around and the flute itself sits in the hook of the accessory.
I was just gonna go with it being prehensile, but you know,
it's actually
doesn't make your ability to hold a slippery
no.
thing work.
That accessory is actually in my character art. I thought of this.
we thought of this. We have the technology.
I was hoping you had an answer, and I am proud of you.
I had that answer when I first designed it.
So for the rest of you who have made your way into this western sitting room, Professor Van Dorn is holding forth. It's a fairly open area dominated by this immense gilded harp that currently has nobody playing it. A number of seats are still open, but it's not set up in a traditional, like, there's no podium with a placement of organized seats. He's simply kind of relaxed back on this centrally placed sofa. He's a stout gnome, gray-bearded, wearing a monocle. He's flanked by a pair of very clean-shaven hobgoblins who are wearing severe but simple clothing. And they simply stand quietly as the professor has apparently been talking for some time, but speaking very energetically to anyone nearby who seems to be paying attention. And almost everybody in the room seems at least marginally, if not very intent on his words. Once again, Aurelia, you sort of see this, and it feels like a much larger audience for that sort of standard small room Vascone lecture style that they usually have, just amped up a few exponents.
Yeah.
But he's currently discussing about the pair of councils that make up the governing body of Conflux. You see, understand, the state of our councils shuts them away from the world, yet the business of our councils requires them to know it thoroughly, which is a grand contradiction in terms and definitely bodes quite ill for the prosperous governance of our city or the equitable treatment of the citizens that reside therein. You see, the councils consult the good of this city no further than it answers their own purposes. Wherefore, their own interests lead them to suppress the growth of our interests in every case which does not specifically promote their advantage or to the least interfere with it. What you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that the authority of these councils over this city is a form of government which sooner or later must have an end, and any serious mind can draw no true pleasure by looking forward under this painful and positive conviction that what one might call our present situation is merely temporary. We cannot truly be satisfied knowing that this government is not sufficiently lasting to ensure anything which we may bequeath to our posterity. And by a plain method of argument, as we are running the next generation into debt, we ought to do the work necessary to reverse our fortunes toward a truly sustainable model. So you understand that the primary obstacle to the common people of Conflux governing themselves is simply one of knowledge and education. But as we see our current councils are already widely lacking in these same areas, it cannot be logical to assume that continuing under our current status is safer in the longer term than whatever changes we may actively incite by intentional revolution. At which point, the audience is definitely murmuring amongst themselves.
Yeah.
As he's putting forward his particular philosophy, given his academic analysis of the situation and society at hand. And these pair of hobgoblins behind him simply fold their arms and sort of just watch.
I'm watching those hobgoblins. I want to know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Give me a history check.
May I do that as well?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like
14.
trying to figure out who's interested in this, how the room is reacting.
Yeah, I want to read the room as well.
Me too.
17.
Yeah.
Same.
And Aurelia, you both recognize them as Apprian monks. The Apprian monastery, or the Apprian monastics, are a group of monks that have a conclave in Underbough. They tend towards a fairly Spartan lifestyle, and these two seem to be there attending to the professor. You're not sure how or why, but you definitely recognize their sort of identity. Korishana, go ahead and give me an insight check.
Yep. 19.
The room is split. There's a lot of sympathy, at least from a philosophical perspective, but he's actively recommending a not subtle change of government.
Right.
Which is a somewhat radical notion.
And somewhat detrimental to one's health, usually.
Possibly. And this seems to sort of been the you guys arrived in turn for the capstone statement. And at this point, someone raises a hand and he points to them, and they ask a question about, if there are provisions in the legislation that currently governs Conflux for this sort of thing, and how one might, through legal and already established channels, attempt to try and affect some of the changes that he seems to be so passionate about. To which he responds that the councils, as they are organized, don't really allow for that sort of thing. And it would be a monumental task to take the privileged ruling class and get them to sort of voluntarily deprivilege themselves. And he doesn't come right out and say it, but the implication is fairly clear of if things are going to change, it's going to have to start from the bottom up and probably with a good bit of fire and clubs.
Right.
There's probably a point at which after that question and maybe a couple more asked that Wotan steps up and sort of raises a hand.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And were your potential revolution and overthrow of government be to put forth, what exactly would you intend to put in its place to see to it that something truly changes and you don't just see yet another hierarchy where those who were previously on the bottom are now the privileged top, and you've done nothing more than reverse the roles?
Well, for starters, sir, I'd recommend that we gave the privilege of the vote to everyone in the city, at least once they reach an age of majority, say 14 or 16 years of age. As I'm sure you're aware, it's only landowners currently what are permitted to vote on who represents them in the Council of Selects. And the Council of Lords, well, that's simply hereditary nonsense. It should have been abolished years since.
But then you'd simply open it up to becoming a massive popularity contest of where he who can garner favor rules the city rather than he who owns it by blood.
But at least at that point, you'd be falling on more of a meritocracy than simply those who can influence a certain minority of us who's allowed to speak.
Except then your merits that you're judging are simply those who can speak well rather than those who have strong ideas in their minds. Those who can convince the populace who, as you've already stated, are largely uneducated as to that the ideas that they hold in their head are in fact the best, when in fact perhaps all they're doing is pushing their own game and making it sound like gospel.
That is why, sir, that I've recommended that education become one of the foundations of whatever organization we eventually establish. It's important that if people are to select their own government, that they understand the function and necessary qualifications of those who are to be enacting their popular will.
And
You're right. An ignorant electorate would be a detriment to this city, possibly almost as bad as what we currently have at our disposal.
Might just go ahead and vote in a celebrity or a reality.
While Wotan is providing the best distraction possible, I am trying to look around for anything that might be of warlock significance, anything that might tell me whether or not this is actually what we're here looking for, if there's somewhere else we need to go, something like that.
Okay. Well, go ahead and make me a perception check, Major.
I'm just watching the way that
you have advantage on this because you can use all your senses.
Twist.
That is correct. 17.
17. You catch a faint aroma that kind of seems to stand out a bit, and you look over, and just across the room from you, there is a gentleman, probably late 30s, dark skin, very formally dressed in a bright blue coat with a kind of explosion of lace at the collar. But the aroma is not him. It's the pseudo-dragon that's kind of curled about on his shoulders with its claws sort of clasped in front of it. Its eyes glancing from side to side, and the tongue flickers out and back in as it tests the air. Those are pretty rare. You don't see those out very often.
Would I know to associate that as a possible warlock thing?
Give me an Arcana check. Nope.
I can't roll.
The guy with a weird reptile.
Okay. Guy with a weird reptile, and I noticed an aroma. Is it like an aroma I would recognize, or it's just sort of what pseudo-dragons smell like?
It's what pseudo-dragons smell like. It's that sort of snaky, oily cucumber, but with a little more incense thrown in.
All right. I'll pull out a scrap of paper from my bag, write something down quickly, and start heading out to the elderly refreshments area that presumably has chairs and water for a bit.
Okay. At which you'll be able to find. Which is when Aurelia, behind you, you hear a
I turn.
and just before you turn, you hear, "Pardon me, miss. Might I request the pleasure and honor of a dance?"
Oh no.
Make a perception.
Who is it?
14.
If I turn around?
That's why you're making this perception check.
Yeah.
Turn around.
Perception? Am I making a perception check? Is that what I heard? Okay. 9.
You don't recognize him, partially
Okay.
because he's already bent over.
Oh no.
Guy is dressed in a fairly dark green ensemble with a few much brighter slashes of yellow and green. He's got well-trimmed blonde hair, small goatee, flashes a broad, sincere smile as he bows with this flawless courtesy and holds out a hand.
So while this stuff was going on, I don't know if I would have time, but I wanted to ask if I could tell if anyone around here, because I know the Vascone folks, if I could tell if anyone was from one of the other colleges, specifically the Magisterium.
You might have a chance to determine that here in a bit.
Okay, not right now. But this is... Yes, I will. Absolutely. Thank you. I will...
How good of a dancer do you think Aurelia is?
She has not had much practice.
Okay.
This is probably fairly new. I'm imagining she knows like the basics of some basic stuff, and that's pretty much it.
All right, let's
It's
see
like
how
one of those
he
etiquette
does.
things that they do it at grad school. Or
Right. Okay. So he holds out a hand, you take it, he pulls you up into position to lead. He seems to sort of get an idea of your general skill level and kind of pulls you towards more of the center of the ballroom. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, miss. I'm Torvald Fauntleroy, gentleman adventurer. What?
My lord.
Oh God, I hate him.
Hi, he's a gentleman and an adventurer.
Of the Hallodoors Fauntleroys.
Ah. Do I know what any of that means?
You can make a history check if you want.
Okay. 14.
14. You seem to remember a minor noble family from that northern end of the city that goes by that last name.
I imagine at that volume I heard that. Do I know?
No. This guy has no volume control.
Yeah. Do I know who that family is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know.
Okay.
In a room of 10s, he's a 12.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I like to think that throughout this entire time that Wotan and this professor have just been going back and forth on the pros and cons of establishing a democratic government in the middle of an uneducated populace, and how when you've got a small group of people in power, they typically want to keep that power, which means they'll do everything they can to quash the ability of the public to become educated, which will prevent you from creating your educated electorate, et cetera, et cetera.
Pretty much. Yep.
Just
And
going back and
he's
forth.
right there with you and apparently having a fantastic time. Thank God, somebody who dialogues. Aurelia, you begin to make your way through your first dance. And
Myself.
once he sort of guides you into the rhythm. Well, it's delightful to see you out in public. How are the rest of your group doing anyway? I saw you with a horse and harp the other day.
Ah, yes. We're doing quite well. That was the place we were. That was the place we were at, right?
Oh, with the dumb mimic? Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yes.
as he mentions that, you remember, this is the guy that you saw before you left. He had the armor and the rapier and
the dark
face.
like the dark and brooding guy in the corner.
yeah, with the blonde hair and the goatee.
Very different than what you thought he was.
Oh. Ah, yes. No, I remember you from there. sure. I noticed you.
That's very complimentary. Thank you, miss.
Yes. What were? Do you go there often?
Well, I've sort of, shall we say, tossed my responsibilities to the winds for about a month or so now, and it's been very diverting, bracing even, you might say, trying my fortunes on the lawless lanes of Conflux. I'd like to go down to the Undergress one day, but unfortunately my manservant Chiswick refuses.
Oh my god, it's Terry and Darrington.
Oh my god.
I'm dead. Yes. Well, I've been into the Undergress before. I am an archaeologist, you see. Aurelia Clementine Evans.
Oh, pleasure. Where did you do your studies? I studied at the Academy Marshall.
Vascone.
Oh, brilliant. You're a bookworm. That's fantastic. Yeah, he's very sincere.
Yeah. This is a groupie. Okay. Yes, no, it's been a very interesting couple of days since that all happened. But
I imagine you want to keep that thing sort of under wraps here. What? Don't want to necessarily announce your full identity to a room full of strangers.
I will interrupt. Yes, absolutely. I will attempt to distract him from saying anything stupid.
All right. Meanwhile, Diamond.
Oh, hi.
A tall, bearded elf of perhaps early
He's
adulthood.
tall for an elf? Is he tall for an elf?
He's quite tall for an elf.
Okay.
Glides forward to you quietly and also extends a gloved hand with a bow. Might I ask you to dance, miss?
Yes. Yes, you may.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're very courteous.
I love how carefully that was. Yes.
And he also directs you out, leading onto the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
The dance begins, and he spins you around once, so you lose sight of him just for a brief moment. And when you turn back around, well, how are you?
Oh, fuck.
And he's no longer quite as tall, definitely no longer bearded,
Christ.
wearing a cloak of autumn leaves.
This bitch.
Enjoying ourselves, are we?
You're not going to randomly change the room into a waterfall forest, are you?
Well, it's been quite a while since I had a lovely dance such as this, despite the company, but I suppose it'll do.
I'm not a very good dancer. I've never danced before, so if I step on your feet, I'm sorry.
And he spins you around again. You're not wearing it.
Wearing what?
The thing I left you the other day. Pity. Well, here. And he traces a finger around your, kind of the crown of your head, and you feel a sudden weight, and you can sort of see a wreath of daffodils now kind of just sitting on your ears.
I mean, I'm not wearing it, but I have it.
Delightful. So how are things?
Confusing. Very confusing. But we're here. This seems like the right place to be.
It is. Very well done. Very astute. I'm sure this was all your idea.
No, it wasn't.
Ah, false modesty. So adorable.
You're very confusing.
From a certain point of view, I suppose. Have you learned everything you need?
Nope. Not at all.
Excellent.
What am I supposed to do next then?
Well, that will depend. You could murder some people. You could run away into the darkness. You could let them take you?
I don't like any of those options.
No? Well, if you're going to be walking this path much longer, you'll have to get comfortable with darkness.
Not the darkness one. Murdering people. I'm not a fan of that.
Perhaps not, I suppose. And the dance continues for a little while. What's everybody else doing?
Because I have only gotten the idea that my patron talks to me through mirrors, anytime I see a reflective surface, I'm going to be looking into it to see if I can get a fucking clue. And also just looking around to see if anything else magically drags my attention.
Give me a perception check then.
This might be relevant. I am trying to palm a note to Hedon.
Okay. Give me a sleight of hand check.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look around to see if there's any, because there's Raven Queen temples. I'm gonna see if there's any clergy people from the temples here.
Okay.
Well, that's not as bad as it could be.
Oh,
Nope. And once Hedon gets me that perception check, we'll see how things go.
An 18.
All right. So you're looking around, trying to catch a glimpse, and there's a few times as you look into a reflective surface, a mirror that you pass, the glass pane of a window, where you're pretty sure your reflection does not specifically adhere to the normal laws of reflections. And every once in a while you hear that just over your shoulder. And when you turn, there's never anybody there.
Yeah, never expecting there to be.
And then you see Maja drop a piece of paper onto a serving tray that is definitely headed your direction without the server noticing it particularly. And she makes eye contact with you as she does.
I assume we've been dancing this entire time.
Pretty much.
Darling, I definitely love dancing, but I'm going to have to take just a very small break as I pull ever so slightly away.
Breather and drinks, of course.
Letting my tail drag down his shoulder and arm and hand and the whole thing.
He gives you a wink.
I will replace my drink onto the tray that the note was put on, grab both a new drink and the note, and sort of sidle over to one of the mirrors that I've caught a reflection in, and sort of back to the back to people where I'm blocking my own reflection. Sort of both look at me at my reflection and the note while drinking.
Yep. So you take a drink. So you look at your reflection, which is just your reflection. You take a drink and you come in, and your reflection is now dead-eyeing you, and then gives a nod at the note.
Open the note.
The note has a description of a dark-skinned man who Aaron's notes didn't catch further description of, but I know was said, with a pseudo dragon, and then see what you can find out. Question mark.
I will fold the note back up, slip it into my waistband, finish my drink, and then head back out to my date, and just sort of. Is the person with the pseudo dragon visible on the floor?
With an 18 perception, I'll say yes. And as you turn to go, you hear a voice behind you. Be ready, my son.
Yes, Daddy. And I'll head over to name Gerhold.
Yeah.
I forget the name of my date.
Probably not the first time.
No. Gerhold, darling, do you happen to know who that is? I say, pointing at the person with the pseudo dragon.
Let me see if he does. Seen that gentleman before. Fantastic pet, though.
Indeed, I am ever so interested. Do you think we could go chat?
I don't see why not. He carries himself like a man of breeding.
I will let Gerhold guide us over and begin the conversation.
Right. So Gerhold steps up to the man. Well, good evening, sir. Good evening. Gerhold Cunningham of the local district. Gibald Dutrain. Pleasure. And my companion for the evening, Hedon. This is Mr. Lord Dutrain.
Does that title mean anything to me?
The Dutrains are a ranking noble family. One Dutrain sits on the Council of Lords.
So we're sort of equivalent status.
You've never heard of or met Gabal before, so you're assuming probably down the line somewhere, so you might outrank him.
Yeah. I'm not letting that on, though. I'm the dumb date.
Right.
Who is doing the dumb date thing of just sort of like hanging off of Gerhold's shoulder and tail, like sort of idly flicking his other earlobe that's not on the side that I'm on.
Yeah. Very fascinating dialogue happening in there. Not every day you see a pirate going toe-to-toe with a professor.
Your pet is so adorable. Do they have a name? I say, indicating the pseudo-dragon, and sort of holding a hand out to see if I can pet or not.
He gives you a glare that is very much a fuck off that.
Don't pet.
But his tone is still extremely pleasant. He does. He responds to Shimon.
Shimon. You named a pseudo dragon Shimon.
I did.
When I'm a Michael Jackson looking motherfucker right now. It's
your interest in academic.
I mean, he's so adorable. Where could I possibly get one?
Fairly rare, especially in these parts, although I hear there's a small clutch that lives wild in dawn breeze. Certain, shall we say, entrepreneurial individuals occasionally can convince one to be acquiescent to what one might call ownership.
Is that where you acquired Shimon?
Indeed.
Do I get any sort of otherworldly tingling in the back of my brain at any of this information?
Or your dick.
Give me an insight check.
That's not an otherworldly tingle. That is a very much this worldly tingle. 21.
He's playing very coy, but you're picking up just the faintest little, yeah, there's something there.
Am I getting it off of him or the dragon?
Little bit of both.
A little bit of both?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the spell that I want to have right now. Do I sense any magic coming off of this person?
Not currently.
Not currently.
Mm-mm.
I will continue with small talk until I can think of something else.
Okay. Now, where is everybody at currently in the room?
It's probably at this point, as like several minutes, probably about, like 10 minutes of this dialogue, this back and forth between Wotan and the professor continues to go. And Wotan's sort of at this point is, And I'm afraid at this point I have said my piece, and he sort of looks at the rest of the group that have gathered to listen in, and and remember, ladies and gentlemen, that no ideas, no matter how well-meaning or well-founded, should go unchallenged. And that the only thing that one can use to find their own direction, he says as he pulls his compass off of his vest, is their own sense of direction and their own personal compass.
Give me
He
a
has props.
persuasion check.
23.
Ooh.
And at that point, Professor Van Dorn grabs a mug off of a nearby table and stands up to where he's probably just barely over your height, but as he's standing on a couch, and raises it. A very well-spoken member of our attendance tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Give this man your respect. And there's a number of raised glasses to you as you sort of take your leave of the dialogue. Where's everybody else?
So he sort of gives a brief bow and then sort of turns and departs to sort of get a better view of the rest of the room.
Cole had gotten up and was looking around to see if there was any clergy members from any of the Raven Queen temples. His raven has been on his shoulder the whole time while he's been walking around too. So,
all right. We'll have one perception check for Cole. Korashana, go ahead and give me a perception check as well, since you're looking for other Shanas currently.
And I had mentioned that as the debate had been going, I was continuing to review where everybody was.
Yeah, you're very well aware of mages here. These two are dancing. Wotan's drawing attention. Okay. Maja, you'd pass the note and then what?
At that point, I was going to try and link up with whoever else in the group seemed available.
Okay.
But
at that point, it would have mostly been either Cole or Korashana. Cole, as you're looking around, you see a couple people who are wearing icons of veneration to the Raven Queen. None of them look clergy.
Okay.
Probably just fairly devout individuals who do that as an aspect of their normal attire. And even they have sort of joined the rest of the company with a slightly more otherwise brighter wardrobe choices, and which seems to be what you do when you go to a textile magnet's open bar, more or less.
Yeah. I'll go up to one of them and I'll just say, excuse me, I have a question. I saw your icon and I just had a question. I ran into somebody, I think, that was at one of the temples, and I didn't get their name before they had to go. But do you attend services regularly at one of the nearby temples?
Well, the greatest center of Our Lady's worship is, of course, in Cryptwood.
Yes.
On the west side. And on the weeks that I have the time and the resources, I'll occasionally travel that direction. Were you at the Great Temple of the Raven Queen or one of the smaller shrines hereabouts?
It was the Great Temple. There was a funerary service I had to attend.
If you can, I'm reasonably acquainted with those who serve the queen. Can you describe the individual you were speaking of?
Yes, fairly pale. They had thin lips and thinner hair. Do I remember their build just from the?
Remember, they were definitely at least human height. They wouldn't have been like a gnome or a dwarf. Or
Yeah, I'll just kind of like do this for height wise, and then
okay.
Not too fairly average, I would guess, but yes, I wasn't able to catch their name, but they helped me a lot during that service. Said some words.
That strikes me as perhaps Arter Nielsen, or a male, you said?
Yes, male.
Possibly Borkard Eriksgerd.
Okay. Thank you. So what brought you here besides the conversation?
Well, when unique ideas are to be presented that seem to alter the potential direction of society, even on a localized area, those of us that have faith to she that guides destiny frequently take an interest.
Has she ever spoken to you? Have you ever?
I do not believe that is normally her way, but faith in her guidance and the knowledge that an individual of power keeps watch over the smaller things, determining that everything, to the best of her ability, follows the proper course as is intended. I find that reassuring.
I hadn't quite thought of it that way. Thank you. And your name?
Well, at this point, you may call me Cormac.
Nice to meet you, Cormac. My name is Cole, and I'll shake his hand, shake their hand.
He'll grab your hand.
And then I'll look over and probably see Wotan stop talking and just kind of, I think I must be going now. Thank you for your help, though.
It was my pleasure.
And
May Our Lady guide your steps.
And yours as well.
And to you.
And also with you.
And also with you.
All right.
So yeah, if Cora was the one who would be off to the side, then
Cora is spotting the rest of the group, waiting for someone to inevitably get in way over their heads.
Well, and Cora as the Cora as the one individual who's trying to like keep the big picture view.
Yep.
That puts you in position to notice something.
Okay. There is a giant rock that is about to fall.
Metaphorically.
Is it me?
You linger kind of on the outskirts, and eventually find a point near kind of the front wall, the front exterior wall, where you got pretty decent glance. Right. And then you glance over your shoulder and look out the window. and you see a squadron of warders gathering near the estate entrance.
Okay, so
At some signal, a double column of spearmen begin a rapid march up the lane towards the front door, splitting to surround the front portico. A second body of guards suddenly maneuvers in to push through the foyer, swiftly gaining entry to the mansion and striding out into the ballroom, and the music abruptly ceases as a bugbear warder wearing Lieutenant Board steps forward. By order of Hightower in the marble seat, this gathering has been deemed seditious. All present are under arrest and will be taken into custody. Do not resist. And as you might anticipate, pandemonium immediately ensues.
Yes.
What's everybody doing?
Did I not have a chance to send telepathic messages to everybody to warn them?
Give me an initiative roll.
Okay. Because that sounded like a lot of movement.
It was
And
a
this
lot
is
of movement.
instantaneous.
It was very fast.
Okay.
All that armor. Oh,
Nope.
Oh
Because
no!
why can I do anything?
Oh.
You do get a message out. Let me check one. Do you know what your
I
range
have to
on that
send
is?
them what?
Do you know what your range on that is?
My range on it, I believe I have it here.
Okay.
60 feet.
60 feet. Are you? So the closest people to you are going to be Maja, Aurelia.
Maja's right next to me. I can
Okay,
say
yeah,
something
yeah,
to-
right, right.
I can say something to her and send a message out at the same time.
Right, yeah. So the closest people that are not standing right next to you are Aurelia, Diamond, and Cole.
Diamond.
Diamond first? All
Yes,
right.
Diamond and Maja, we need to leave now.
Right.
Yeah. Diamond hears that and is just like, oh, nope. Fuck.
Disengage
battle.
and find an exit.
Yeah.
You're dancing,
I,
and your patron spins you one more time.
damn it.
And as you come back around, it's the elf again. And immediately you hear this message from Korashana.
I say, I'm so sorry, darling. It's been a lovely dance. I have to go to the ladies' room real quick and book it.
Okay. Who gets it next?
And like I said, that's basically the same thing as verbally saying.
Right. So Maja and Diamond have been informed.
Next would be Aurelia.
Okay. So you're about halfway through the message for Aurelia when the bugbear comes through and basically tells everybody they're under arrest.
All right, everybody's gonna figure it out at this point, so I'm ducking.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes, you were able to at least get a couple off.
Yeah, and I will actually put a hand on to help Maja along, since Maja is not the quickest of people.
Mm-hmm.
There will not be
Almost
delicate.
like I was coming over to you to say, hey, we really need to fucking leave. But didn't get an opportunity to do anything because, you know.
Is Heaton close to me?
Heaton is a little bit to the other side of the room from you currently.
Do I recognize this bugbear?
You do not.
Okay. What, based on what he has announced, how far down does my dad's shit have to roll before it hits him?
Fairly far. He's wearing lieutenant's boards, so that definitely puts him as kind of a mid-ranking district officer. Your dad's immediate shit, of course, goes to each ward captain.
Yeah.
At which point there's probably 4 or 5, and then you get to this guy.
How effective do I think, in the mindset that he is currently displaying himself at, how effective do I think my father's signet ring would be on him without magic?
Just give me a straight intelligence roll.
Yep. 17?
So standard warder deployment is arrest everybody, put them in holding, we'll sort them out after that. Going up and showing him a signet ring is going to do fuck all.
Yeah, okay. So he's in
because Because as far as he'll be concerned is, okay, you've got some information that might be relevant later. Right now, though, you're under arrest. We'll handle it.
Yep. Okay. In that case, time to flee.
Oh, party's over. Time to go. Ugh.
So,
The lights are on. It's 3:00.
what's everybody doing?
So as soon as the doors bust open, Wotan, who is sort of in the doorway between this room, the main room, and the lecture hall, will sort of slide into the lecture hall and immediately head over to the professor. He's like, "My dear professor, I believe it's time for us to leave," and sort of start trying to help him get out.
So you sidle over to him, and immediately, as you say this, there's a hand on your chest as one of the monks steps forward. The other's right behind him. They've gone into immediate readiness. That voice carried. And he's not actively attacking you, but he's definitely interposing himself. And the professor kind of looks around. Well, I do believe this gentleman's right, and we should be making ourselves an exit. I feel sorry for our hosts, but lads, appreciate it. Which direction?
Well,
And the two of them kind of grab him and start frog marching him over to a window. Neither of them are stopping you from following, but they've kind of taken charge and are moving.
they are an excellent distraction, so I will go with them.
Okay. Right. So anybody who's sort of near the sitting room can see Wotan sort of drafting behind these two monks who are bodily carrying a gnome toward a window.
What's the layout of this room, of this building? Is there only one exit, or what is it? I imagine there's more than one.
Yes, there's the primary exit that everybody came in, which the warders currently have control of. There are multiple exits and staircases and whatnot further into the manor, and you assume other exits beyond that, but you guys don't really know the layout of this mansion per se.
Yeah.
To my assuming that the rest of my party has ways to get out, I'm going to.
A lot of assumptions.
Yeah, well, I'm going to indicate to my date, darling, I think it's time we left, and sort of like start shuttling him towards the kitchens where we can find a different way out. And behind me, I am casting Unseen Servant and giving the Unseen Servant the command to help the lieutenant out of his armor. Because while the Unseen Servant can't really do much to stall them, if an invisible force starts unstrapping your armor buckles, it's gonna distract you no matter how focused you are at the moment.
It's true. Okay, so that's happening. So Korashana, you're standing there next to Maja. What are the two of you doing? Because you guys are closest to the front wall right now, and definitely closest to the warders that are coming in and starting to herd people.
I looked at Maja and say, perhaps finding a back entrance would be, or back exit would be best for you.
Okay, sure, whatever. She'll nod.
Mad dash or keeping it subtle?
Whatever Cora's doing.
Cora's doing something different than running for the door.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess then I'll subtly head towards a back. Sure.
Okay. Maja, go ahead and make me a stealth check. You'll have advantage because this is a frenzied crowd of people that you're sort of keeping between you and the warders.
Well,
What? What?
I had, yeah.
Okay. So Major does the elephant version of sneaking through a strawberry patch. Clump, 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 clump. All right. What's Cora doing? Korashana doing?
Cora is going to act as well. Do 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 do. Yeah, Cora is going to act as the distractionary tactic for the group because
Okay.
they assume that not everybody is going to get out otherwise.
Okay.
And so we'll walk towards the essentially Cora is going to allow themselves to be arrested
Okay.
and in the process do so in such a way of like sort of centering attention on them
All right.
so that they're not seeing everybody else trying to
Okay.
take their breaks.
So just give me a straight charisma roll.
Okay. 11.
Okay. And so you walk up to a guard and sort of just hold your hands out like, okay, take me in. The guard, I'm going to say with this natural 1 on his perception roll, apparently, as he rushed into the room, the visor on his helmet just kind of went clang as he stopped. And you're kind of there trying to do, the good civic thing. All right, yes, no, the law is here. Let's get this worked out. And he's like, and holds his spear out to you like, hold this for me a minute. Apparently assuming that you're one of his, cohort.
Oh my god.
Legal question.
Yeah.
If anybody else sees me holding the spear of the city watchman, am I in additional trouble?
I think if you held it in a certain in a level of non-threatening way and there's a guy struggling with his armor next to you, most people will be able to make the logical assumption of what's happening.
Okay. Can I realize that this is a leap.
Okay.
But can I very quickly just take the spear and sort of position myself so I look like somebody that perhaps the guard just enlisted to aid him at this particular moment?
Give me a deception check.
You're becoming Korshana the Squire.
Squire brave.
There's going to be a surplus of squires there in a moment.
Deception. I am moderately good at that.
Squire.
That could have been better.
Could have been better.
Do
Could
you
have
have
worse.
an inspiration point or no?
Huh?
You have
I do. I do have inspiration from
You can roll a d6 and add it to that if you want.
Okay. Yes, I will. 16.
16.
Solid.
16
Okay.
is good.
16's not bad, right? So you're like, okay, I'm helping.
I might be able to walk out the front door.
Cole.
I kind of had the same idea as Korshana, except not quite. I wanted to get where there was a group of the warders already coming, kind of get out of their line of sight, and then use my Misty Visions invocation and use it to cast a silent image of a warder in full armor, like he already caught me and he's walking me out the front door.
Okay.
Keep in mind, Misty Visions, I don't believe can move.
They can.
I was gonna say,
It can move, it just can't make noise.
Yeah.
Right,
say,
it's
let
the other
me
one
take-
that can't move.
let me take a look at that then.
Yep.
Yep, silent image. Okay. So yeah, you've got a fake warder who's arresting you very quietly.
I assume
Alright,
it's
everyone-
pretty loud in here with everybody running around.
Right, yeah, it's like, yeah.
clanking armor.
Go ahead and make me just a deception check with advantage then, since you've got somebody holding you at spear point as you walk out the door with your hands up.
I got him, boss.
21.
21, okay. This is
Solid.
why I love Warlocks.
No one else knows magic. No one can call you on it.
All right. Aurelia, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna say to my dance partner mentally.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Adventuring time. Shut up until I tell you to talk. And grab his arm and book it for the nearest. Not the nearest exit, 'cause that would be the front. I'm trying to go out and get out as fast as possible, basically.
I always knew Aurelia was a dom.
Okay.
Alright.
So you're just headed further into the mansion looking for the nearest exit.
Yeah, I'm trying to head in and well, I saw them going for the window. That's actually I'm gonna let them do that. I think that's gonna make a lot of noise. They're gonna grab attention. Yeah, further in.
Okay. So yeah, so you two just book it. Go ahead and
Yep.
give me wait, are you leading the way or are you trying to like
I'm leading the way.
Okay.
I want him to be quiet and to listen to what I'm telling
give
him.
me an athletics check then?
Okay. Natural 20.
Natural 20, yeah!
All right. So you grab Torvald by the wrist
Yep.
and
Come
you feel his hand kind of grab onto yours and he just gives you a very light squeeze of
My God.
affirmative, more or less.
Yeah.
And you just charge through this crowd. You put a toe into the back of a few knees and manage to
Out
just
of my way.
push your way through pretty much to the vanguard of all these people who are just heading for whatever door they can find as you make your way in to what seems to be the kitchens.
Oh, yeah, it's the same place I'm going.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey.
As you go, you hear something clatter behind you.
Quick glance back. What is that?
Torvald's got a fire poker now.
Fuck.
And a shit-eating grin. Apparently, this is exactly how he wanted his evening to go.
Oh boy. Oh sweetheart. Bless his heart.
Yep. Just
So,
wait.
Wotan, you watch these two monks pull him up to the window. One of them somehow grabs a stool with the toe of their boot and flings it straight into the glass, which shatters immediately and bangs those two shutters open. The other one pulls something out of their belt and just scrapes the splinters of the shards of glass across the sill to try and make it as non-murdery as possible, and does a headlong dive straight out the window. Quick flip, turns, lands on his feet, holds up his hands. There goes the professor. Caught, set. The other monk is over. What
Yep.
are you doing?
So good.
So, Wotan, how far is that drop?
Probably 8 feet or so.
Yeah, so Wotan will just sort of look around, see people are coming. Well, I guess I'll cover out escape then. He says he pulls his compass off and holds it up in the air for a second, and the needle starts to spin rapidly as he casts Flurry and just creates a quick snowstorm in the area that is
All right.
difficult to see through.
Yes.
Sounds good. So there's a small snowstorm in front of this window that a whole bunch of people are literally running toward right now because they
And-
heard the glass go and immediately eyes went that way.
And while it's all obscured, he will cast False Life with his action and just dive out the window.
Okay. Give me an acrobatics check then.
All right.
And that's when Wotan eats shit.
That's why he cast False Life.
Yep.
18.
Yes.
All right. So you just fling yourself backwards out the window, fully expecting to feel dirt and grass hit you hard. Something hits you, but it doesn't hurt, and it was a lot sooner than you anticipated. And you roll with the force and land on your feet as you see this monk just behind you, holding up 2 tonfas that he apparently punched into your shoulder blades with just enough force to sort of rotate you back forward.
Oh, good. He was helping me.
Hey, monk buddies.
All right, time to get moving.
What's a nod? I have a boat this way if you want to take whatever.
That we can do.
And I'll lead the way to his ship.
The professor is piggybacked on a monk who is moving exceptionally fast towards the back hedge. At the same time, you start to hear shouts from both sides. Law enforcement is starting to surround the manor. Back inside, Major, you've made it to a doorway.
Do I... Sure, open door, I guess.
Okay. You push it open. Go ahead and just give me a straight intelligence check.
Okay.
You've been in a number of houses. You've
Yeah,
been
I was
sort
going
of
to say,
re-architecting
I've
a
been
little
in enough of these houses that I'm probably angling for, like, the servant routes, the routes that I would normally be expected to take.
Yep.
I don't have advantage, but 6.
That's okay. 16, yeah.
16,
And
it's the same roll. I pressed the wrong button.
it's all good. So you push the door open and yep, smells like servants down this way.
Okay.
And you've
'Cause
managed
usually those go through the back sides of
right. Yeah, absolutely.
the rooms, whatever.
Which is when you start hearing the shouts of, everybody settle down! Do not resist! So this is going on. Meanwhile, Hedon, you've made it to the kitchens as well. And you see Aurelia dragging a guy in formal wear deeper into wherever these go.
Can I estimate how long it'll take my unseen servant to get over and start messing with the lieutenant?
He's probably getting there right about now, assuming that assuming that he can negotiate a way through this almost meat grinder of people.
Yeah.
He's doing his best.
He'll be fine. He's a good boy. He's also shapeless and invisible. So, hi Aurelia, this way. I'm going to start leading my date, and theoretically also Aurelia and her new date. Basically heading out through.
Aurelia is well ahead of you.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm heading for the kitchen, like, scullery exit, basically, where the servant staff in the kitchen would come in and go out, because they're not allowed to go into the front doors because haughtiness.
Yep. All right. So Aurelia, you're kind of leading that direction, and Diamond, you said you were headed just out.
Just away.
Okay.
Away from him, not towards the main doors where everyone else is busting in from.
Right.
Probably see the tail end of Hedon and just like, that's my exit.
Give me an athletics roll then.
Oh, I'm good at those.
Good.
Very good at those.
Yes, you are. Yep. All right. So you manage to negotiate the crowd a little bit, and shunt your way through. So it's about equidistant at this point, Aurelia, Hedon, you, in terms of distance and lead. Aurelia, you haul Torvald's ass down a set of stairs into the scullery. There's a door there. You kick it open. And in front of you is a small cobbled lane leading towards a gate. And the entire rest of the estate, more or less, is surrounded by these hedges that are about 10, 15 feet tall in places.
Okay. Can I tell?
You can hear the clank of armor. Somebody's coming.
On the other side of the gate, or from
no, like kind of around the house.
Got it. Okay. How many clanks of armor? Is it one person or is it several?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. 5.
Sounds like about 12.
Okay. All right.
Didn't bother giving me the roll. Okay, 1 second.
In that case, oh, we're gonna be terrible. The gate, is it kind of just metal with, can I see through it, or is it like a solid?
Yeah,
gate?
it's like a wrought iron, fairly heavy with little spikes at the top.
Okay.
And
All right.
the frame is kind of stone that the hedge sort of grows up to and around.
Mm-hmm. All right. I am going to. That's only one person. Yeah, it is. And I think there's 12 people out there, and I do not want to be here.
No, you don't.
No. All right, let's be terrible. I cast Dissonant Whispers
Yes.
on the area outside, approximately where I can hear the sounds coming from. I want them to stop.
Okay.
This is level 1. Yeah. They all have to make a, let's see, wisdom save.
Okay. Let's see how they do. All right. Do you have to be able to see your target?
Within range can hear. I don't think so.
Doesn't say anything about.
Yeah, it's an area. Yeah, 60 feet.
60 feet. Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One creature within range.
Oh, it is
Alright.
just one creature. Damn it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. So you just throw it out there, hoping that it hits something.
Something.
And
Yeah.
it needs to make a wisdom save.
Yep.
Kills Torvald.
Oops.
No, I'm pretty
No.
sure Aurelia is specifically not
Yeah, no.
targeting it towards Torvald.
No. Not yet.
I just want to make sure that DC is correct, Mara.
DC 10? Oh, yeah, no, that's not right. I don't know why I did that. 13 is the DC.
13.
Why is it? Okay.
If you don't set it specifically within the spell, a lot of times it'll default to 10.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, spellcasting ability. There we
You
go.
hear a groaning noise, but the footsteps are still coming.
Magic.
Get out now. Defend with that stupid poker thing. And I am like shoving him forward through. I'm gonna open the gate, shove him forward through it first.
Oh, well, you've gotten to the gate. The gate is locked.
Oh, fuck.
She's ripping off with her strength because she's fucking a badass right now. Like, come on.
If it's metal, like, I could try. I will try. I don't really have.
Actually, you step up to it,
Mm-hmm.
and Torvald, one moment, jams the poker into this this chain that has it, and just heaves back. That statement definitely carried some volume. The two of you that are in the house definitely hear her date yelling something. But with a 22, bang, one of those links just gives, and he yanks the chain out and kicks the gate open.
So we're keeping him.
Escape, good warlock! I'll hold the gate.
Fine, I will head out. Like if I've paused to look at things, so I probably know, and like hurry up to probably Hedon because you're closest.
Okay. All right, so Hedon, you hear hurry up.
Yeah.
In my brain.
And right in your brain, and you drag your date out, and you see Aurelia disappearing, while there's a man with no armor and a slightly bent fireplace poker standing there looking like he's about ready to take on a legion of dragons and having a great time.
Ah, yes. I just smile and wave as I run past,
Okay.
dragging a half elf along.
Yeah.
Bless him.
All right, Korishana.
Yep.
You're holding a spear and trying to look helpful.
Until such time as everybody, all the authorities pass by me, and I can gently set the spear against the wall and slip away.
Well, your friend has gotten his helmet back open. Oh, thank
Hold
you.
it back out for him.
Thank you, citizen.
You're quite welcome, sir.
Kind of looks at you. Are you... Were you...
And he, of course not.
Make a deception check.
I ran in after all.
Come on.
Like, I need
Oh,
help.
of course not.
I saw somebody running in, and I saw that your visor was about to fall down, and I thought you might need some aid.
Oh, fuck.
Wait, Jack,
Yes.
can I use my inspiration to make him reroll?
Yes.
I will use my inspiration to make Jeremy reroll.
That's
Oh my god.
All right.
That is how Jeremy's dice work.
no, Nikki. That's how my dice work.
Yeah.
When something is crucially important, the ones come.
But then you got this number, which is just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Much
emotion.
better.
Great, thanks.
Well, stand aside for a moment and let's get the rest of these miscreants in custody, eh? If we
course,
need
sir.
some help, you'll be my first one to contact.
Thank you.
And he starts
And
stepping
I
up.
am going to stay there the whole time and be helpful because I am a
Bless you.
helpful citizen.
You see him step up, and there's a woman of probably mid-50s, half elf.
Okay.
So, I mean, young-ish for a half elf.
Right.
That's trying to maneuver away, and he literally just sticks the spear haft out, sweeps her legs, and then drives it into the back of her skull and just knocks her completely unconscious. There's a little bit of blood on the floor.
No.
Not my problem.
And as you're looking around, this is what's happening. Like, if police brutality was a thing in Conflux, it's not. It's happening. They're literally beating the crowd into submission and then chaining up unconscious bodies, and there's 3 or 4 warders that are just dragging them bodily out.
LN means lawful neutral, not lawful nice.
That's true.
It's not my problem.
Meanwhile,
I will dutifully aid as directed.
you've made your way down a hallway and it seems to fork, well, T intersection technically. Right or left, it looks like this is sort of like a lodging hall for the servants' quarters, which usually have their own entrances and exits at some proximity. So you continue down, and you can hear just nervous crying behind several of the doors. Do you stop or do you keep going?
I stop.
Okay.
Guess.
So you stop at a door. Do you knock or do you just open it?
I'll probably just very quietly open it. I don't want to make any undue sound.
Okay. And you see a pair of housemaids sort of just kind of cowering on the floor, with a slightly older one who's holding a broom in a very threatening manner and just sort of jabs it at you as you come in the door out of reflex.
It is all right, dears. I'm not with them. but it seems we are all in a similar predicament.
Who are you then, miss? You were at the party?
Not by my own choice, but yes. Major.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, miss. What should we do?
You who know the grounds better than anyone. I'd venture better than those who think that they own this place as well. Are there secret ways in or out, panic rooms, other options in that vein?
I mean, there's entrances in and out. None of them secret or anything. You got a couple to the back, and of course the main front doors, but no going out that way now, I reckon.
Do the lords keep a safe, a panic room, a hidden room that wouldn't be known to the public?
Secret passages and that sort of thing's not really their style, and any valuables are kept up on the top floor in the Lord's study.
Well, the study isn't exactly hidden, so that's not going to help us any.
I mean, we might be able to. Are you thinking we should leave?
I did see a bit of what was going on out there. I suspect leaving is the safest option, and if we can find a peaceable way out.
And she kind of sets the broom down very firmly, kind of clenches her jaw a little bit. All right, loves, you heard her. She sticks a hand in an apron pocket, fishes out a small brown bottle, pops the cork, takes a swig, sticks it back. All right, let's get water getting's good and see if we still have jobs tomorrow.
Yep.
And she'll just stride out now that she's actually had some direction by someone who seems to be at least a superior, and she's on task. Meanwhile, the two whimperers are kind of clutching each other and trying to stay quiet and move behind you.
Yep. Race of these elves, humans?
2 humans and a half elf.
Okay. Which
the half elf is one of the younger ones.
Okay. I'll look to the human of the younger ones and just to cast Charm Person.
Okay.
Because it's a fucking low magic setting and I get to actually use this spell for its goal.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a save. Wisdom save, no advantage because I'm currently not fighting her.
What's your DC?
It is 13.
Does not make it.
Okay, never mind. Or wait.
Yes.
Yeah, she is charmed.
Yeah, so then you're being very brave. If you can do this. We just need to keep quiet and keep going.
All right. Shh. I'm gonna hear it.
And hopefully having her friend calm down will also help the half elf.
Yeah, she starts trying to calm her friend down, and they sneak out as best they can.
Yep.
3 humanoids and an elephant lady. All right. Wotan. They've gotten to the back hedge. They set the professor down. One of them steps out, kind of spreads into a power stance, and the other one just jumps up, puts his foot right on the hip, and launches himself into the air. Let's see how this goes, because this couldn't possibly end terribly. Manages to get on top of a hedge. Hedges usually don't have strong branches, and this guy apparently knows that enough to where he just lays on his back and tries to distribute his weight as much as possible. You hear at least one grunt of pain.
As he gets stabbed by the hedge.
Right. But then an arm comes out, and the bottom monk just heaves the professor up, and the hand grabs around a wrist. And you hear him roll and land on the other side. All right, now it's your turn.
I love the idea that the monks are part bodyguard, part escape vehicle.
As you wish. Is he basically in that stance to boost me up as well?
No, he looks like he's going to take a more active approach for you.
Okay.
I need you to make an acrobatics check with advantage.
As he throws me?
As he bodily throws you as high as he can.
19.
All right. You get up. You get up a little higher than necessary. You do not make contact with the hedge.
I soar over the hedge.
How many temporary hit points do you have?
7.
You have 5 temporary hit points currently.
I take 2 points of damage, yeah.
2 points of bludgeoning damage as you just whack on the other side. Poof. That hit kind of hard.
But I still feel better than normal.
You do still feel better than normal. And then you hear a couple of running steps and a grunt. As this monk just flies practically up over the side. He drags a hand across the top of a hedge and manages to somehow grab onto something in there, which pivots him down, and he just slams into the ground almost as hard as you did, but manages to roll across his shoulder and back into a 3-point landing on the other side.
All right.
Is there anybody else we need to wait for?
If we want to do any waiting, we can do it by my boat, where there are not going to be guards chasing us down.
Fair point to you, lad. All right, let's do this.
He pulls his compass out, checks it. All right, this way.
And you guys start hauling ass down the exterior of the hedge towards wherever you docked your boat, which is probably
5 miles away.
I was going to say, which is going to be a good, for these guys even, 15-minute run. No, longer than that. They're fast. They're not quite that fast. Hedon, you've made it out. Just as 3 warders, and you're roughly right at the gate, as 3 warders come around the corner. Spears leveled. Halt, you lot!
As soon as I see them, I start going on with my signet, with the signet ring on my tail out and visible. Well, it's about time you got here. Please, would you hurry on in behind me and continue gathering up all these seditioners? I've got this one who I'm taking in for questioning myself as I use Loki's gift.
Okay.
Yes. Which means they need to make an insight check against my advantage deception. Hopefully I roll better than I did last time I cast the spell.
Go ahead and make your deception
23.
check. Well, that's 10 more than theirs.
So they believe me inherently.
All right.
And I'm basically presenting myself as a warder, like as an undercover warder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I assume you've got your hand on Torvald's shoulder or something, right?
Yeah,
now.
Torvald and my date. I've just got both of them, and I'm pulling them behind me. and as I go around, the Earth Ganassi behind us is with me.
Make another deception check. This one not at advantage.
Okay, that's a
Another
line.
23.
Oh, solid.
Nice.
That one's only 5 higher, but it's still higher. Right, you assa! And they charge in. Diamond, you're making your way through the scullery as these 3 warders, spears leveled, come in. 1, 2, 3, all headed straight at you. Because you didn't hear any of this. What do you do?
Yeah, no, I didn't hear any of this. And I say,
I'm not the one you're looking for.
Don't stab me.
You know what? She touches her gemstone and is just like, I was not here. I found the wrong mansion.
Are you using any particular spell or ability?
Yes, she is. She's
Okay.
using her Fey presence. So they at least one creature has to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Can I send that? I can. DC 13.
Okay. Each creature in a 10-foot cube, they'd all be within that, so they'll have to make a wisdom save. All 3 of them succeed.
Oh.
Shit.
The Fey presence doesn't give itself away though, so.
No,
Right.
I just like I suddenly just kind of like I glow a little bit more. I'm like, I was in the wrong mansion. Sorry.
So they push forward, and as you say this, they sort of look at you. We're aware, ma'am, and just keep on going through the kitchen.
Woo.
So, you have marched yourself at spear point.
Yep.
Out past about 50 guards.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really seems to give you a second glance.
Awesome.
And there's a group of people who are being more or less detained with probably 8 to 12 other warders surrounding them. Are you marching yourself to go join that group? Are you headed straight out the front gate? What?
Yeah, if is the front gate open?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'll get as far towards the front gate as I can, and then as soon as if anybody notices, I'm just gonna start booking it.
Okay. You'll have to make a deception check again.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Natural 20.
So,
No need to run.
if nobody
So
notices,
apparently, so
walk
they're
myself out the front gate.
Yeah.
So like 2 of the guards that are in charge of the detained group of people kind of look at you and look at the guard who's got you and look
I'll
at
have
you
the guard
again.
nod.
Right. And you sort of, you do the kind of like, all right. And the silent guard who apparently they can't hear over the sound of hysterical and angry people that they're guarding kind of just gives them a,
Why does he get to go?
right. And they give them a little bit of a, kind of casual salute and turn their attention back to their prisoners. And you just march yourself right back
Last 10
out
feet.
and around the corner.
Yeah, last 10 feet right before we get through the gate, the guard turns around and Moon walks out behind me. And then I book it to
Little
Wotan's boat.
spear flip flourish, and you guys are the knight. All right.
Oh my god.
So at this point, Kurashana and Major are the only 2 who are still there. Major, you eventually make your way out to a side exit, and the housemaid holds up a hand, and you can hear the tramp of feet back and forth on the lawn outside. The gate is around the corner, and I mean we can. I've got the keys to unlock it, but it sounds like they're gonna see us if we try and get there. What should we do, ma'am?
How many? And can I tell how many?
She cracks the door open and takes a peek. Looks like 6. Maybe a few more.
God damn it. So Jack, do I have any idea sort of what might be generally outside that door?
Based on her description, and what you could see of the grounds coming in, it's fairly well groomed lawn. And you assume it's pretty much probably just open grass. You saw the hedge coming in, and you can kind of make the assumption that that's sort of the exterior barrier on the perimeter of this estate. And apparently there's a gate through the hedge out there somewhere, but it sounds like it's probably going to be a good 60, 80 feet to get from where you are to there based on what she said.
All right. Question. Do there happen to be like outside torches or anything like dotting the property?
You saw the front exterior was lit, but what you could see of the windows, most of the other grounds aren't really that well illuminated.
Okay. The best I can do is fucking not enough, but all right.
You would also be aware warders generally carry either torches or lanterns with them after dark.
Okay. So that's not terribly helpful, actually. I'm going to see if we can. We'll see if he can draw some of them away, and I'm going to cast Unseen Servant out there.
Okay.
Because invisible, and ordering it specifically to grab some dry bits of hedge or something and throw them onto the torches the guards carry, trying to just make something that's confusing and distracting and might even seem like there's someone escaping over there. We need to go that way.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
You know, if I can't use the spell that way, just tell me.
Yeah, no. Just to see the efficacy at which you are able to employ this. So, you cast Unseen Servant, and the force goes out, and you hear some things snapping in the hedge, which immediately provokes "Oi, who's that?" And you hear a couple footsteps sort of dashing that direction.
Yeah.
And then you hear them kind of exclaim in shock as something starts futzing with their light source. They seem to be marginally distracted.
Okay.
And you're not hearing, once they've sort of made the move, you're not hearing a lot of marching happening right now. So apparently you attracted the attention of at least whoever's in the localized area.
I'll sort of give a nod to the woman. And specifically, I wasn't trying to turn off their lights. I was just trying to cause some fire.
Okay.
Fire.
Because fire is distracting. And if you're a city guard, you try and stop the fire.
Yeah.
Definitely try and stop the fire.
Especially
And
because that fire might be escaping seditioners.
Yeah. And you can, as you sort of peek an eye out through this crack, you can see a couple of these twigs are sort of floating in the air, kind of in a bundle, and it's poking at the exposed flame of the torch like it's trying to light them.
Bless
guards,
that
like,
unseen servant.
Waving a hand, the one that's in charge of the light, while the other two are sitting there just like, what the fuck is going on?
Can I direct the embers sort of further away from us so they're starting to like flow in a direction?
Definitely. And then you see this sort of like marginally sputtering bundle of twigs sort of float its ass down a little ways away.
Do
and
the guards chase it?
They're more confused than chasing it right now because it's...
Did I create enough space or no?
Oh yeah, you definitely created enough space.
I'm gesturing all of them to go first, but we're going.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check with advantage since they're distracted.
Fucking hell, I am an old elephant.
I know.
18.
Hey.
But an 18 sometimes happens, right? And you guys creep your way out as they are confusedly and then starting to follow, trying to figure out what's going on because this looks suspicious. And also they rolled a 4 on their insight. And you manage to maneuver your way around, and there's a gate. It's just open. Diamond, by this point, you have managed to make your way out through the gate to the exterior. Korishana, they've managed to apprehend probably upwards of 100 attendees at this point.
Okay.
A couple people have sort of come and like confronted you, and your buddy apparently is like, citizen volunteer came in. Yeah, we're about time the populace shows us a bit of respect for what we do for them, eh? Yeah, well, this one here, he knows what's up.
That is
There are
named
going to be
Gary.
so many anarchists angry with me, assuming they ever get out of jail and don't mysteriously die in prison.
And as the last are rounded up, one of the other ones turns to you, although you did manage to see the bugbear lose his whole shoulder pauldron before a sword came out and whipped around and apparently dispersed whatever force was doing it, and he like kind of grabs it, shoves it back on, gets it buckled.
Mm-hmm.
Very weird.
R.I.P.
Yep. And a half-elf warder comes up to you. All right, well, thank you for your assistance. We're going to need a statement.
Absolutely.
What did you...
I will happily provide however you need.
All right, well, here, come on over this side. And he sits
I
you
can
down.
Provide a written statement for you.
Oh no, and he pulls out a small ledger book. I'll be taking a written statement.
Okay.
Sits you down.
It's a lot easier to lie when I'm just writing it down myself.
All right.
Yep.
So, you were outside and saw the warders beginning to assemble, I assume?
Absolutely, yes.
And followed in due to...
I had, as I had mentioned, I had seen. I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but that there was a what I suppose would be best referred to as a wardrobe malfunction with his helmet.
All right. So a public servant in marginal difficulty.
And I quickly went in to help because if he was to be disabled by that, he's wielding a spear, he's rushing in, somebody could be one of his fellows or the like could be hurt.
Attempt to minimize possible risk to the core.
And then at that point, I was already there, asked me to do a couple of, and I was just offering my services at that point. As much as I can help your forces.
Assisted as requested and verified that all was being conducted according to procedure. Yeah, sign at the bottom.
Okay. Simply sign Cora.
All right, so you put Cora down and definitely are now accessory to false reporting.
False reporting is a lesser crime than treason.
False reporting is a lesser crime than treason, and most of the false reporting was done on the behalf of the half elf who is trying to put forward that they did everything in a humane and peaceable procedure.
Yep. Yeah, I am not going to be in trouble for this.
Very well. Well, thank you. Should we require more information about tonight's events? Where shall we call upon you?
This is awkward. I do not have a permanent domicile currently.
Transient. Very well.
Yes.
In a week's time, please update the guard station of Underbough of your current location.
Of course.
Very good. Snaps the book shut. Right. Well, thank you for your assistance, citizen. Be about your business.
And I walk right out the front door.
Safe and sound.
All right.
Past the rest of the guards.
Yep. So where is everybody assembling?
So Aurelia would have stopped after like getting far enough away that I would feel safe. If
Okay.
And then like waited kind of for, and if I heard like the sounds kind of dying down, I might have gotten closer and seen Eden maybe.
Yep. Eden and Diamond would probably be able to catch up to you fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I'm dragging everyone that's with me to my date's place because he lives in the neighborhood and they can get coaches from there.
Okay.
Because I'm not done for the night.
After we're decently safe and far away, I'm going to just ask the three that I'm traveling with. Do you have family acquaintances in the neighborhood? I doubt it's safe for you to go back to work just yet.
No, we've got. I've got a brother about a little ways down the neighborhood, and we'll find a place. It'll be and these two can share a roof with me for the night.
And Major will nod. Keep safe. Probably in Elvish. That last bit as well.
You as well, miss, and thank you. Don't know what it was you did, but we're grateful to you.
I would appreciate if you didn't mention that part.
Your secret's safe with us, ma'am.
And I'm going to try and head back to the river.
Okay.
I may catch a coach once I'm in the next district over, but...
Yeah, a couple blocks down, the noise has died considerably, and you'd be able to flag a coach down.
Yeah.
It's mostly the cheap stuff that's running tonight, so it's gonna
cheapest possible option.
Okay, so that'll run you basically 12 copper.
Okay.
Wotan, the monks do not seem inclined to patronize transit, so they just
I wasn't planning to either. So
right, yeah. So they're walking right behind you, and they sort of just. Apparently, the professor does not consider it infantilizing to ride on somebody's shoulders. And they just keep passing him back and forth pretty much to make sure that they can keep going as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And eventually you'll get to the boat. Who else was trying to get to the boat besides Major?
Me, but if it's already gone by the time I get there, I can get back to Knife Spawn.
I mean, you were able to get out basically about as fast as the monks were.
Okay.
And you're technically a little quicker because Wotan is the limiting factor on the speed for his quartet.
Okay.
So yeah, you'll get there about the same time, maybe a minute or two ahead of time.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just head to the boat and wait.
Well, actually, no. You with your urchin feature, you'll get there like way ahead of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wotan, you get back to the boat, and then Korishana, were you headed to the boat or where?
I mean, I assume I'm probably not gonna make it because I stayed there fairly. So they'll stop by the bus. They will casually walk in that direction, but assuming that it's gone, they have no problem making a long walk.
Okay. So you're not going to grab a coach or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. So the three of you, more or less, plus two monks and a gnome, all sort of assemble at the boat eventually.
All right. Well, Cora, it's good to see you.
No, Cora's not there. It's
Cora.
Cole, Major. Cole got there first,
Okay,
Major second, and then you guys.
All right, yeah. Well, all right. Good to see the three of you, or two of you. We'll be accompanying the professor anywhere you need to be dropped off at.
Well, assuming that you've got the ability to make some transit, wouldn't mind a quick jaunt up the road to Donbreeze.
Let's see, where are we at? We're at
Donbreeze will take
Underbough.
you probably a half hour past your normal docking spot for Hawkside House.
All right, I'll drop the other. If it's fine with you guys, I'll drop the two of you off in Nice Font and take him all the way up towards Donbreeze. If that's fine with the group of you, I think you might be muted, Aaron.
No, I'm just not talking that loud.
Okay.
I'll grab out of my herbalist kit and assorted stuff that comes with that. Just probably one of the flowers I need to crush, or something otherwise like noticeable to someone who knows what they're looking for. Put it down sort of here, just so, kind of trying to create some sort of message of like,
Kind of a major what's here.
Spot.
Okay.
And just hope that the rest of them found somewhere to be, assuming Keaton is being Keaton and not being sure about the rest.
All right. Heaton, you guys are able to make it back to Gerholt's house pretty easily. Most of the warder attention seems to be focused on the Jeanette estate. And he sort of pauses as you guys arrive. Oh, that was a very diverting evening.
Oh, it was quite exciting, darling, and you have certainly earned a second date.
He kind of grins. Oh, I didn't anticipate company, but do you all need... He's very trying to ginger...
They can acquire Coach's home, I'm certain, I say as I wrap my tail around his bicep and start leading him towards the door. See you guys later. Waving.
Bye, Hayden.
So the door slams
Mara,
behind him.
Mara, you're muted.
Oh, I am?
Oh,
No,
no,
you're
oh
good.
sorry.
Oh,
It looked like you were
okay.
saying something, but nothing came out.
No. Just making noise. It's good. I turned to the world, I guess. Thank you for your assistance. That was...
It was quite a pleasure. I'd like to do something of this nature again sometime in your company.
I put my...
You seem to have a grand band of friends. I'm sure we would all make excellent acquaintances.
I would like your help in the future, but right now I have to get my friend home. It's quite late and we need to get back. May I call upon you again? I have an idea of how we might work together.
Oh, that's rather brilliant. Yes. Well, as I'm sure you know, I'm staying at the Horse and Harp.
Yes, I do. You said it several
Excellent.
times.
Well, I'll need to find a bit of... And then he puts two fingers to his mouth and gives out a piercing whistle. At which point, you see in a lamp-lit area, probably about half a block down, a very slim, probably mid-40s person step out into the light, clasp his hands behind his back, and kind of give a nod. Well, I must be on my way. Chiswick! Fresh horses!
Oh my god.
Who is that?
At which point there's a nod. My valet will accompany me from here. I hope you all have a safe journey back to
Valet.
wherever you call your domicile, and I'll await your summons at the Horse and Harp.
I am eyeing that direction because I'm. This guy was following us this entire time and stayed hidden.
Yeah, but he was if he was following you, he was definitely following you from a distance.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to take a note of.
But yeah, yep.
Okay. All right. I will get away from him because he's loud. Okay.
Your date was very exciting.
That was unexpected. I think that's going to be either the best idea I ever had or the worst.
It's gonna be great. We're in the game now. This shit is. Excuse me, that's not diving. Oh man, that was crazy.
So as everybody begins to make their way back to safer quarters for the evening, that is where we will end our adventure for the night. Next week, we will pick up on a boat ride with a professor.
Yes.
Yes.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.
So much to find, got nothing to prove to narrow minds. They rant of redemption as I leave them long behind. In the bones of the earth, in the stones and the dirt, there is form and design. 'Cause I can see the world unseen. I can hear them call to me. Harnessing the energy from every fall and failure. I'll be a force of nature upon a world of rust. I'll be a force of nature. The only truth I trust is what I see.
Rise of corrupted wires, return to sleep. Blaze with the raging fires.
'Cause I can see the world unseen. Truth is in the mystery. Focus on the sting I feel from every pain and danger. 'Cause I can see